Look, right now, as we speak, an invisible clerical error might be quietly draining away your hard-earned retirement funds. You definitely want to stick with me for this explainer, because we're looking at a well-documented reality where honest, hardworking people are receiving way less than they actually earned every single month. And it all comes down to a simple number sitting on a government record that nobody ever bothered to ask them to verify. We're not talking about some temporary adjustment here. This is a permanent reduction in the deposit that hits your bank account for the rest of your life.
$24,000. Just let that sink in for a second. That's a huge chunk of change, right? Here's the deal. Social Security calculates your benefit based on your 35 highest earning years. They average them out, run it through their formula, and bam, that's your check. But if just one single year is missing from that record, like if it shows a 0 when you were out there grinding, or maybe just half of what you actually made, it pulls your entire average down. The data shows that a single year of missing earnings can reduce your monthly benefit by roughly $100. Over a 20-year retirement, that one wrong year silently costs you $24,000. And if 2 or 3 years are off, you can multiply that figure right out. The wildest part? The Social Security Administration isn't going to send you an elect. That error just sits there, bleeding your retirement dry.
So I've got to ask you point blank. Have you ever actually sat down and checked your Social Security earnings statement year by year? Because this free document, which lives right inside your My Social Security account at ssa.gov, dictates your monthly check for life. Inside it is your complete entire earnings history. We're talking every year you ever worked with a dollar figure slapped right next to it. You have to actively verify this thing because I promise you, nobody is coming to find those errors for you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Who's actually at risk here? Well, there are 4 specific groups of folks most likely to have money just sitting uncollected on their earnings record right now. First up, anyone who worked for a small business during the 70s, 80s, or 90s. Payroll back then was often literally just a handwritten ledger, and honest reporting mistakes rarely got caught. Second, the self-employed or freelancers. Their earnings are reported through Schedule SE, which, let's be real, has way more points of failure than a standard W-2. Third, frequent job changers. Every single time you switch companies, there's a chance some payroll department mistypes your Social Security number or name. And fourth, well, actually, the fourth group is the most heavily impacted of all.
Name changers. This is consistently, without fail, the most financially damaged group. If you changed your name at any point during your working life and didn't immediately update it with the SSA, those earnings can fail to attach to your file entirely. They just sort of float around inside the system, credited to absolutely nobody. This happens most commonly with women who change their names after marriage or divorce. We are talking about real work, real sweat, real paychecks, simply vanishing into the ether just because the name submitted didn't perfectly match the file. If you fall into this category, you need to check the years surrounding your name change immediately. It is absolutely crucial.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, you know what, I'll get to this eventually. But listen, the law has some incredibly strict deadlines. Legally, you only have 3 years, 3 months, and 15 days from the end of a taxable year to correct your earnings for that year. So, for 2022 wages, that standard window completely closed on April 15, 2026. But here is the crucial point, the big exception that keeps the window open. If you filed your own federal tax return on time for that specific year, and it shows earnings that differ from what the SSA has on record, that tax return qualifies as an exception. The correction can still be made.
Okay, so what does this all mean? How do we actually fix it? Well, you're going to need one specific, entirely free document, Form SSA 7008, the Request for Correction of Earnings Record. It's the official tool used to fix these errors, and you can download it directly from ssa.gov. But listen closely, because this is where a ton of people trip up. You cannot just log in and submit this thing digitally. Nope. It must be physically printed out and either mailed or hand-delivered to your local Social Security office. All right, here's your clear, tactical playbook. Literally just 4 undeniable physical steps to get this done. Step 1, download Form SSA 7008. Step 2, gather copies, and I mean copies, never the originals, of your evidence, like old W-2s or tax returns. Step 3, include a simple 1-page cover letter. This is actually a massive insider tip from our sources. A clear cover letter listing the year, what the SSA shows, and what you actually earned speeds up their internal routing process immensely. We're talking cutting processing times down from 90 days to closer to 10 days. And finally, step 4, send the whole shebang via certified mail with a return receipt. That way you have concrete proof of the exact date the SSA received it.
But wait, before you lick that envelope and drop it in the mail, you absolutely need to hear this warning. Your actual physical signature and ink is required. If you type your name or try to be fancy and use a cursive computer font, the form will fail, period. Under SSA processing rules, an unsigned form is treated as if it was never filed at all. Think about that. If they have to mail it back to you to sign and your legal deadline passes while it's in transit, your correction window closes permanently. Do not risk it. Sign the form in ink.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how it completely eliminates the biggest excuse folks have for not fixing their records. If you're sitting there stressed out thinking, man, I don't have my old paperwork from 1995 anymore, relax. That is not the end of the road. When the purpose is correcting your earnings record, the SSA itself can actually retrieve copies of your W-2 forms going all the way back to 1978, and they'll do it at absolutely no cost to you. You literally just have to specifically ask them to retrieve it for an earnings correction.
Building right on top of that, there's a second free tool at your disposal that completely changes the picture, IRS Form 4506-T. This form retrieves your official wage and income transcripts directly from the IRS database, again, at no charge. It shows exactly what your employers reported under your Social Security number, and it is fully accepted by the SSA as solid supporting evidence. So, between the SSA's own retrieval process and this IRS form, having no personal paperwork in your filing cabinet is simply no longer an obstacle. Now, check this out. Even if your record is 100% perfectly accurate, there's another hidden strategy here. Remember earlier when we said your benefit is based on your highest 35 years? Well, if you took some time off, maybe to raise the kids or care for an aging parent, you might have some zero income years just sitting in that average, dragging it down. Returning to even modest part-time work can push one of those zeros right out of the formula. Literally, a part-time gig earning just 15 grand a year can replace a zero, permanently boosting your monthly checks by up to $150.
Which brings us to the sheer power of simply waiting. If you haven't claimed your benefits yet, for every single year you delay past your full retirement age, right up to age 70, your monthly benefit increases by approximately 8%. That is a guaranteed, permanent, inflation-adjusted 8% increase per year. Do the math on that. 4 years of delay equals a massive 32% permanent increase. This strategy is an absolute game changer, especially for a higher-earning spouse, because if they pass away, the surviving spouse inherits that maximized, delayed benefit amount for the rest of their life.
And hey, speaking of spouses, widows, and eligible divorced partners, you can actually claim up to 50% of the higher earner's benefit. But here's the kicker. The SSA does not automatically flag this for you. They aren't going to tap you on the shoulder. You have to ask for it. A simple, totally free phone call to the SSA to run a comparison of your projected benefit against a spousal or survivor benefit could reveal hundreds of dollars a month that you had no idea you were entitled to.
All right, I need to pivot for a second and put my protective hat on, because there's a highly convincing scam targeting seniors right now that makes my blood boil. Fake benefits recovery specialists will reach out to you claiming they can audit your record and recover missing funds. They'll sound super professional and offer to do all the heavy lifting. The catch? They want a massive upfront fee, or sometimes they'll even demand 20% of your newly increased check. Listen to me very carefully. These people have zero special access. They are literally just downloading the free SSA 7008 form and the free IRS 4506T form we just talked about, and they're charging you thousands of dollars for a process you are fully 100% in control of.
So here is your absolute, unbreakable rule of thumb. The Social Security Administration will never, and I mean literally never, initiate contact, call, or email you about a potential earnings increase. It just doesn't happen. If someone reaches out offering to recover SSA funds for a fee, it is a scam, period. Hang up the phone immediately, trash the email, and please report them to the FTC and the SSA fraud hotline so we can shut these shady operations down for good.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground in this explainer today. But you know, information is only valuable if you actually act on it. So here is my challenge to you. What did you earn in your highest grossing year? Do you actually know what the government recorded for that year? Don't just guess. Go to ssa.gov today. Take 5 minutes to check your best year, verify your record, and permanently protect the money you spent your whole life earning. Because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to do it for you.